Let's see here. Let's turn on some music. How about this? Oh. Add. That should be about good. There we go. All right. So. Hey, Uki. How are you? Yeah, I'm in just chatting today. Let me turn down. What do you mean, why? The bot's been there forever. I know, every time, because I have the bot on every time. Let me just... There we go. That should be better. Move over there. Uki, thank you so much for hosting. I appreciate it. Hey, Pandazaki. How are you? So, today what we're doing is I got this book, Dessert Person, for Christmas. And there's this awesome recipe for malted forever brownies. And I want to make them. They look awesome. They look great. So let me just get right into it. The first thing it says to do is to arrange, let me just grab it, to arrange an oven rack in the center position and preheat the oven to 350. That's been preheating, so that's all good. And then to line an 8x8 inch pan. She specifies to use a metal pan. I don't have an 8x8 inch metal pan. I don't have an 8x8 inch pan anyways. So I'm using, I think, a 9x13 glass pan. Whatever. Should be fine. Anyways, how are you guys? How are you doing today? Yeah, so line that with foil and butter that, and that's the prep work basically. So I've already got that done. And let's see what the next step is. So the next step is to bloom the cocoa, which I need to do with boiling water. So let me turn that on real quick. There we go. I already boiled the water earlier, so it should already be pretty hot. And that'll just boil out for a little bit. And what I'm going to have to do with that is, in a large heat-proof bowl, whisk the cocoa powder and 1/4 cup boiling water until smooth. This will bring out the flavor of the cocoa. So I need 20 grams of the cocoa powder, which is also a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Yeah. So I'm going to be adding that to this bowl right here. And I'm going to measure out 20 grams. I am doing this on a scale instead of like in measuring cups and stuff, just because it's a little more precise, especially with things like cocoa powder and stuff like that. I prefer using a scale. So we're on 21 grams, that's fine. Close that up. And the water I will be measuring in cups, just because seems like, actually, no, I'm not. I just realized the thing that I wanted to measure in is made out of PLA, which melts at a pretty low temperature. So we're not doing that. We are going to measure out 113 grams of water. So let me tare that and grab the water cooker. And I'll add in 113 grams of boiled water. How much are we on? 78. 101. So what this is basically gonna do is it's gonna... There we go. Get rid of that. It's gonna intensify the flavor of the cocoa powder by having it already pretty much cook a little bit. So I'm gonna whisk that up real quick, and then, I don't know. Do I need to do anything else with this? Mix it up, I guess. Just whisk it up. It smells like hot chocolate. It would not taste like it though. Hot chocolate would need a lot more sweeteners and all that kind of stuff. So this is pretty smooth. I don't feel any clumps anymore. That should be about good. There. Let me grab a towel to put that on. Get that a little bit out of the way. There we go. What's the next part? Alright, so next part is to add the semi-sweet chocolate. It says to use 64 to 68% cocoa. I couldn't find that specific amount in my supermarket, so I'm going to be using 70% cocoa, which is fine. I'm going to grab a knife for that real quick. Be right back in just a sec. That one should work just fine. Hey Loki-Yuke, how are you? I'm doing great. We just got started on these brownies, so should be very, very good. I need 100 and... what was it? 64? 142. That's what it was. 142 grams of this chocolate. So I've got 100 grams here. Let me tare this real quick just to make sure that I'm actually at the right amount. No. So 102, that's fine. And another, I've forgotten already. It's hard to find in the recipe too. 142 grams, that's what it is. So Loki-Yuke, how are you today? How's that? Pretty perfect, 144? I'll take it. Glad to hear you're doing good. I'm fine, finished up for the day and just doing bits and pieces on the computer. Alright, that sounds like a good time. What you doing? What you working on? And how was work today? I'm gonna move this over here real quick, just to have it out of the way. As you can see, my book is right over here so I can read the recipe. And I'm just gonna chop this up into pretty small chunks because I'm gonna want this to melt. So, not too concerned about like the texture of the chocolate here, just making it small. A larger knife might be more convenient for this, but whatever, we'll deal with it. It's all good. Chop that up nice and fine. So this whole week and part of last week, I'd been working on this like really important piece of homework that I really had to get done. And I finished it today. Deadline was at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I got it in time, which I'm very happy about. So, my day's been good so far. Some things on your Discord? Alright. Sounds cool. I feel like I'm never on Discord enough. It's just one of those things. So I'm pretty sure I just add this straight into the cocoa powder mixture. Let me check real quick. Yep, this just goes back in there. So I'll be doing that throughout chopping to empty up some space on my board and also to get it melting already. The project I was working on was actually kind of fun. Spoons there. Yeah, I'm studying. So I'm studying communications, and what I was working on was basically... This is not working. It was basically like making posters and campaigns and stuff for different ends, basically, just figuring out how that kind of stuff works and how to make something look professional. And it's honestly one of my favorite things to do during my studies. Like, making posters and stuff like that. Hey, you know who. I made Jesus-shaped pancakes, but I burned them. Am I going to hell? Well, that's a good question. And that's an amazing opener. Welcome on in, first of all. That depends on your intentions, I'd say. If you were intending to burn the Jesus-shaped pancakes, I'd say that's probably not a good idea. But who am I to talk about this? I don't know anything. So yeah, basically what I was doing today is just finishing up the... What would you call that? The document, I guess. Making sure it looked polished and I had all my... sources sourced and things. Basically making sure I wouldn't fail. Tomorrow I'm going to open the time capsule I buried as a kid. Can't wait to see how big my puppy... Oh my goodness! Wow. That's, dark. So, besides your time capsule and burnt pancakes, how are you doing? How's your day? So, in the school project, there were like a lot of different things that we needed to do. Like, basically, they gave us example companies to make the posters and things for. One of them was like a large supermarket chain here, and one of them was like a PSA type of company, which basically is like a nationwide company that tells you what you should and should not be doing, and like how to be a better person in general. And for that one, you had to like take a campaign that they already had. Hey, Proud Trico, how are you? Yeah, so you had to use a campaign that they already had and basically change it up for a different audience and a more specific audience. So things like that were really fun to work on. And yeah, it's one of the things during my studies that I actually enjoy doing. Not like my research paper. which I still haven't gotten my grade for, by the way. I'm hoping to get that sometime soon. There we go. Get this all nice and small and chopped up. I can already tell that in the hot cocoa mixture that some of it is already melted, which is good. What were you guys' favorite things to do in school? What did you enjoy? And did you ever, like, end up using those things? Or was it just one of those things like, yeah, this is fun to do in school, but I'm never going to use it in actual real life? What's up? I'm pretty good. How about you? I was set to come in with, oh heck yeah, brownies. But then I read the dark comment and it threw me off. Well, I'm excited for these brownies, first of all. Let me move my phone a little bit out of screen. Yeah, I'm doing good. Got my work done today that I needed to do, so I'm very happy about that. And, yeah, just having a good time making some awesome looking brownies. I'm glad you're doing well as well. What have you been up to today? So basically what I'm doing is just shaving this chocolate mostly into small bits. Hey Lemon Seed, how are you? Welcome on in. How's your day? My favorite subject was media studies. I wanted a career in media but ended up doing a degree in theology. Huh. What made you switch? I mean, I'm basically doing media studies, which is pretty interesting. The only problem is that it's so broad that it's like hard to say like, oh, what do you want to do later in your future? And I'm like, something. Work at some company that uses media, probably. I always enjoyed writing assignments, like creative writing, that is. That sounds fun. I do. I enjoy creative writing as well. I don't do it much. I wish I would, but I don't know. Just don't have like a reason to be writing necessarily. I think I might want to take a job in that at some point though, and actually like learn professionally. No idea. I mean, I guess if whatever feels good, right? There we go. Hey, Hell Begins. How are you? Thank you so much. I'm glad you think my stream is relaxing. Alright, all the chocolate's chopped up. Let me add that into this bowl. What do you guys think of the music in the background? Do you like it? Oh boy. Huh, I haven't had one of these bots in a while. Let me get rid of it real quick. I'm like surprised that that I'm having a bot in here. I'm glad you're doing well. What have you been up to today? Alright, let's scrape all those little chocolate bits in. Want all that goodness to melt in. And the next thing I believe is to add in the butter. My hands are covered in chocolate already, which is fine. I'm good with that. There's worse things to have your hands covered in. Alright, let's see here. So the next thing is, yeah, add in the butter and oil to the bowl. So that's going to be 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter, which is 85 grams. I also write articles about streamers for my friend's website. Would you be okay with being featured? Absolutely. No problem. Sounds cool. You don't have to do anything. It basically just boils down to me writing why people should check out your stream and stuff. That'd be awesome. What website is it? I'd love to check it out. Sorry about my arm going by here so often, by the way. So, just using some unsalted butter here, and I think this should be about 85 grams. Just cut that up right there. But yeah, I love reading about streamers and stuff like that. I'm always in the Twitch subreddit. So, absolutely. Let me know what the website is. Let me tear this just to make sure. How much are we at here? Wow! 85 grams! Exactly 85 grams. I'm impressed. Hey Momala, how are you? I'm doing good. We're making brownies today. So it says to cut up the butter into little squares, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I opened the stream with saying that I got this cookbook for Christmas from my mom, and it's Claire Saffitz's Dessert Person, which I've been very excited for. And I finally get to make something out of it. Actually can't remember the actual website. I'll check and send it to you in your Discord server. Sounds good. Absolutely, I'd love to see. If you love reading about streamers and stuff, I can just post my 2 articles in your Discord if you want. Absolutely, go for it. There we go. That's the butter. And then lastly, the oil goes in. Do you deliver by PostNL? Man, maybe I should. Alright. So the cool thing that I really love about these brownies is that they use malted milk powder, which is an ingredient that I ordered online a couple months ago, and I was so excited to use it and like have it in everything, and then I just basically never used it except for like putting it in hot chocolate every once in a while. So I'm very happy that I can use that ingredient in here. Let's see how much oil I need. Got my baking cube once again. I need a 1/4 cup of neutral oil, which is 56 grams. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna measure it out in here, but at the same time, I'm also gonna measure it on my scale, just to make sure. Why is it on milliliter? There we go. Now it's on grams. Alright, so 56... Yeah, 56 grams. I'm using sunflower oil. It just says to use a neutral oil. See how accurate my 1/4 cup measurement is. Pretty accurate. I'm at 54 right now, and I can fill it up a tiny bit more. That should be about good. 55. Not bad. Alright, now I gotta be really careful to not spill oil everywhere, since it is very full. There we go. Right into the bowl. Getting all the last little drops out of here. Mainly because I don't want to have oil spilling all over my table. There we go. Alright, so the next thing it says to do is melt this over the stove. So I am actually going to take my stovetop over here and be cooking it right here. So I'll be back in a couple of seconds, just switching over this situation here to put the stovetop over here. So stick around, I'll be back in a sec. Listen to the fun music. And we're back. So, I've got my stovetop over here, and I've got some warm water in here as like a double boiler situation. Let me move the mic a little further away from there. Sorry that it's blocking the front view a little bit, but I don't want the sound from the cooking to be too distracting. Hope it's not too bad. Let me know if the sound is really bad, and I'll try to change it somehow. Yeah, let me cook this on a nice high heat, just to get it all melted in. Now, Claire says to do this and then basically let it cool off for a little bit. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to let it cool off because I actually want it kind of warm so that I can get the sugar dissolved in it better. I just covered my hand in chocolate powder. So yeah, I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. So there were actually 2 recipes that I was interested in making today for the brownies. I knew I was making brownies anyway. But the other one was from a YouTuber that I actually just started watching. I think his name is Adam Ragusia. And he basically did like this scientific research about like the crunchy skin that you have on top of brownies every once in a while, especially if they're like box brownies, and how like that skin is awesome, and how do you get that for your own brownies, you know? So he basically did like this scientific research and actually like asked a scholar from Harvard, I believe, like, hey, what's the deal with this? Like an actual professor and everything. And basically they figured out that the way to get that crispy brownie skin at the top is to incorporate your sugar really, really well. So your sugar basically needs to be fully melted in there, and that gives you that crispy layer on top. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and right before he basically posted the final results from his research, he posted a brownie recipe that looked awesome to me. So I will be making that at some point. This is already going very smooth. Need to make sure that nothing is sticking to the bottom. Most importantly, don't want anything to burn. And then once this is all up to temperature and smooth and everything, ooh, you can really see that steam, can't you? Then I'll add in the sugars. So this is almost there. Only gonna take like a couple more, maybe a minute or so. So what's you guys' favorite thing to bake, or baked thing to eat if you're not into baking? What do you guys enjoy? I think for me, probably my favorites are, I'd say, either chocolate chip cookies or brownies to eat and to make, honestly. Alright, this seems about good. Let me see what... It's a little cold, so I'm gonna let it go a little further. Tastes good. Tastes like really dark chocolate, which makes sense because I'm using dark chocolate and cocoa powder in this. Almost ready here. My favorite dessert is super local, like not even a thing in the rest of local Canada. Wow. What is it? Would I know it? I guess I wouldn't know it, but would I like it? I made a speculace cake yesterday. It was great. Ooh, that sounds good. Alright, this seems about good. I'm noticing that it's pulling away from the sides a little bit, so I don't want it to break, which would basically mean the oils pulling away from the solids. Don't want any of that, so I'm gonna call it right there. It's warm. Warm enough. It's also hot on the sides. I've never met a person who tried it and didn't like it. Alright. Well, what is it? Alright, take that one off. And I'm gonna go put this back where it belongs. Give me just a sec. Let me know what that dessert is. I'm intrigued now. There we go. Back to where it's supposed to be. Let me move this camera down a little bit. There. It's called 5-star bars. They're delicious. If I can find my mom's recipe, I'll send it. Alright. What is it like? What kind of stuff is in there? Let me mix this around a little. Right around the edges, it seems like the oils might have separated a little bit, but that's nothing I can't whisk back in. From the name, I'd imagine that it has like nuts and caramel or something like that in it. Let's see here. What's the next step here? So set it over medium heat, blah blah blah. Warm the mixture. Got all that done. Whisk in the sugars and egg. So I need, how much sugar do I need? Half a cup of granulated sugar, which is 100 grams. Grab the scale again. Always dropping stuff. And how much brown sugar do I need? Also 100 grams. So 100 grams of each. Here we go. 15, 70, almost. There we go, 100 grams. So the main reason why I didn't want to be using cup measurements today was because I'm using super fine granulated sugar. And really that wouldn't work out with cup measurements. It would turn out to be way more sugar than necessary. The stuff called graham wafer crumbs, sweetened condensed milk, coconut, mixed as a cheesecake-like crust, then baked, topped with melted chocolate. Best way is with the Nestle Aero bar, if you guys have those. Are those the ones with peppermint, or is it just the ones with bubbles? Because we do have something like that, but it's not called the same. But we don't have the peppermint ones. We only have the ones with bubbles here. That sounds really good though. It sounds complicated, but really good. Alright, now let me add in 100 grams of dark brown sugar. It's 43. Another big spoonful. 95. And that's about 100 grams. The ones with bubbles. I messed up. I said an arrow bar. A batch takes 6. Oh, really? What? Why is there a difference? Because I'm assuming... Yeah, you said melted chocolate. Then why is there a difference with using the arrow bars? So I'm going to whisk in this sugar. And then I'm going to whisk in 1 whole egg and 2 egg yolks. But I'm going to start out with whisking this in because I want this already well incorporated. This is going to have to be really smooth. Sitting up a little bit to get a little more leverage. I think it's funny that there were so many different reasons that people thought that you'd get like a thin crust on the top of your brownie. People were saying like you need cocoa butter in there and you need to like whip up the egg whites really well so that there's a lot of egg in there, or that there's a lot of air in there. All kinds of different things, and they were all somewhat right because the sugar is more soluble in certain fats was one of the reasons. And the other thing was like heating it at a certain temperature, which also helps with dissolving the sugar. Basically, they were all almost right. They all understood, like, they all got to the same point where the sugar was extra dissolved, but none of them realized why exactly the sugar, or why exactly they had that crust on top. This is already getting nice and smooth. Happy about that. So I'm gonna start adding in the eggs. Yeah, let me grab a bowl real quick because I just realized that I don't have anything to catch the leftover egg whites in. There we go. Wrong one. Still looking a little grainy, which is fine for now. I think it'll dissolve even more in the egg whites once that comes in. I totally just dropped my egg on the table. That could have gone so wrong. I could have had egg all over everything. So, 2 egg yolks. Broken very gracefully, of course. I'll use those egg whites for something. Maybe a meringue at some point. Maybe I'll make marshmallows, who knows? And 2. And then 1 whole egg. Claire calls for large eggs. I think mine are medium eggs, but should be fine. Get that egg off of my hands a little bit. And we'll put that away. So the chocolate mixture definitely is not hot enough to cook these eggs, so I'm not too afraid of like time here. any YouTubers that you guys have recently discovered that you're really liking? This Adam Ragusa guy. I've just been watching so many of his videos over the last couple of days. He just talks about like food science and stuff like that. Sometimes about like music or about like etymology, I think is the right word. My question was if you've recently found any new YouTubers that you enjoy watching. This is looking pretty good. Let me just take some between my fingers. Oh yeah. I can barely feel any grains in there. Let me mix it up a little more just to get those last granules out. And then we should be good. Seems good to me. What's next? That's all mixed in. Alright, so add the vanilla in is what it says. Which is how much vanilla? 1.5 teaspoons. I can take my baking cube for that again. Alright, Mama Lad, thank you so much for keeping my stream on in the background. I hope you have a good dinner. Is it really already 6:15? I'm so bad at having dinner at the right time. I either have dinner at like 5 o'clock or 9 o'clock. There's no in between. Like having a dinner at 6 o'clock, just ain't in it for me. There we go. 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And we'll mix that in as well. I probably should have mixed that in with the eggs, but it's fine. Mixing it more is no problem. We'll only make it nice and smooth. And then we're gonna go add in the dry ingredients once this is all incorporated. I never eat at the right time. Sorry if you repeated the question, but you're kind of low on my end. Oh, let me turn it up a little bit. How's that? Is that better? I hope so. I'm so bad at having dinner at the right time. It's just, can't do it. Do you usually have your dinner, like, too late or too early? Of course, there is no too late or too early. It's just whenever you want to have dinner. Alright, thank you for letting me know. Looking very silky smooth here. You can see how nice and shiny it is. Hey Cactus, how are you? Welcome on in. Normally I have a meal at like 5 p.m. and a meal at like midnight. Same. Not exactly like that, but pretty much. Let's see. What's the next thing we add in? I'm pretty sure just all the dry ingredients. We go for 100 grams of flour, 18 grams of malted milk powder, and some salt. Let me grab my... this thing. Oh boy. It depends. I'm in Canada and hang with Finns and Aussies all the time, so my sleep pattern is all kinds of messed up. Made a full pork chop dinner at 4 in the afternoon the other day, and last week I made a chicken breast dinner at like 2 a.m. Well, whatever works, right? Whatever gets you a meal. Yeah, 100 grams of flour. That's what we're putting in first. Just gonna wipe off the spoon that I used for the brown sugar. And slowly spoon in 100 grams of flour. I'm glad I'm not the only one with a terrible eating schedule. My boyfriend asked me right before I started streaming, like, do you want to like have lunch or something? It was like almost 5 o'clock at that point. So that about shows you a good representation of how I deal with food. I don't mind it at all. I just do it for the love of cooking. Yeah, exactly. I love cooking too. One of my favorite things. Alright, 100 grams of flour. Then 18 grams of this malted milk powder. I'm so excited for these brownies. These are going to be so good. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about if there is or is not enough malted milk powder in here. There we go. I guess we'll just see. I definitely don't think I'd mind having a little extra. But some people say it's already too much, so I think I'll go for, it's 19 grams, I think I'll go for like a tiny bit more than that. 22, 23. Seems good to me. There. I think my weirdest meal story is the time some family visited me at university and just brought this whole turkey for me. It took like 5 hours to roast, and I had turkey dinner at 1 a.m. and the rest of the meat fed my house for like 4 days. Wow. Yeah. I feel like, who brings a whole turkey for one person, first of all? And yeah, it seems like a hard task to like time that correctly. Something like that. So, it calls for just kosher salt. You like the music, Patrica? I'm glad you can hear it. I wasn't sure if you could. So it calls for kosher salt. I'm gonna add this super chunky gray salt that I got in France a couple years ago. It is my favorite thing, and it gives such a nice texture to things. So I'm gonna add quite a bit in there. I think 2 pinches will do. And then on top of the brownies, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more as well. Just because the salt is awesome with chocolate. I miss traveling. Let me just say that. I miss traveling so much. I want to go to France and get more gray sea salt. Around this time last year I was in Rome. So I guess that was the last time things were normal. Never seen gray salt. I hadn't seen it before either, before I bought this. I was just like, ooh, that looks like good crunchy chunky salt, and I knew I wanted some chunky salt. Really the only thing that I use like normal table salt for is salting pasta water and stuff like that. But there's this one store that I live near who sells like these huge bags of that pink Himalaya salt, which is what I use as just my normal cooking salt, I guess. It was very cheap, which is strange, and I don't really know why it was so cheap for the pink Himalaya salt, but I'm cool with it. So I'm just mixing all those dry ingredients in until I don't see any lumps anymore. And then I'll be mixing in some chocolate. It says to use milk chocolate. I'm going to be using butterscotch milk chocolate because it's my favorite. But yeah, the gray salt is like fancy salt. Which I only kind of use for things like this, to like top cookies with or add into brownies and stuff like that. That almost went over the edge, but caught it just in time. Can't even remember what butterscotch tastes like anymore. This one is almost coffee-like. I'm using this one, which you probably don't have in Canada, because you probably don't have an Albert Heijn in Canada. But it has like these crunchy pieces of like, to me it tastes like coffee, but that doesn't really make any sense. Just like buttery, crunchy caramel. So it has an amount listed for how much chocolate I should use, but I'm just gonna add in whatever I feel like is right. Let me deal with these eggshells real quick. Put those away. So yeah, this is basically my favorite chocolate to use for anything baking, really. Like treacle / molasses or whatever it's called locally. That really rich, almost bittery, syrupy flavor. Yeah, a little bit. I guess that might be what it is. It's probably just sugar cooked to almost like a boiling point. That makes sense. Or boiling point? Burning point is what I meant. Let me show you. It's got like... Is it gonna focus on it? You can kind of see like those glittery pieces in there. Come on. There you go. Like those dark, chunky, glittery pieces in there, that's the butterscotch. But yeah, I just like the really crunchy, nice texture it gives me, and it like adds a little bit of flavor. That's not odd, it is pretty chocolate, it's glittery. It kind of looks like Toblerone to me. Chop this up a little bit. I'm gonna coarsely chop this because I like having nice big chunks of chocolate. And I'm also not gonna chop them up evenly because I like having like the different textures. So like here I'll have like a big chunk and then some very small pieces and stuff like that. This is the Bayonetta credit theme? Really? I just turned on some lo-fi Nintendo music. But I'm glad you like it. Glad you're enjoying it. Toblerones are so good. I know, right? You know what's funny? This company, there's this Dutch chocolate... Is it Dutch? I think Dutch chocolate company. That, their whole thing is basically like slave labor free chocolate is what they're working towards. So basically people working for honest wages to make chocolate. And that's really not happening right now. So what they've done is they've like recreated some of like these iconic chocolate brands into their bar shape, but like with the same ingredients in it, which I think is pretty cool. Basically to give people like an alternative to their chocolate bars. It's faster and has lyric, but yes. Oh, cool. Yeah, this is just a lo-fi version, I guess. I like Toblerone, but my girlfriend's family thinks it's my favorite chocolate for some reason, so her parents like always get me a bar every birthday and Christmas. Oh boy. Don't you just love it when people see you like one thing and just assume that it's your entire personality? Let's add this in here. I think this should be about enough chocolate, to be honest. I don't want it to be too overpowering. Add the little crunchy bits in there. And that's how you make a mess. I do like Toblerone, so I'm not complaining, but I just think it's pretty funny. Yeah. It's just one of those things, like, yeah, I like the thing, but it's not necessarily everything I ever want. I don't think I really have anything like that. I mean, it used to be makeup, where everyone would always give me makeup for everything, which was absolutely fine with me. But right now, I don't know. I don't think I have one of those things where everyone's just like, oh, better get her this. My dad bought me his favorite type of cake one birthday. Poor guy felt so bad. Well, as long as it's good cake, right? I am making the brownies from Claire Saffitz's new cookbook, Dessert Person. They are supposed to be like fudgy brownies with a malted milk flavor. Oh, you didn't like it? That sucks. What kind of cake was it? There's really only one type of cake I'll complain about till the day I die. And that's fake red velvet cake, I guess. Which is like the red velvet cake that you can buy everywhere right now. Black Forest cake? Oh, I know that one. Schwarzerwald, I think is what it's called. It's originally a German cake. It's like with chocolate and cherries, right? Oh yeah, me too, for sure. Chewy fudgy brownies over over cakey brownies any day. Yeah, cherries and dark chocolate, that's right. Yeah, it's not my favorite type of cake either. Alright, well that's the batter done. I am going to add it into the pan that I already have prepared. Let me grab it real quick. So once again, Claire said to use a metal pan. I don't have a metal pan, especially not in the size that she wants it to be. So I'm just using this glass thing, Pyrex type of thing, which should be fine. And I prepared it by adding some butter into the pan, then putting the baking paper on top. The idea was that the butter would make the baking paper stick, but nothing makes baking paper stick, so whatever. And then adding extra butter into the baking paper, as instructed. Got some chocolate bits stuck in the whisk. Oh well. Did you guys' parents like to bake? Were you a baking family? My parents never liked to bake. They weren't into it. So basically, for the longest time, I thought that baking was like really, really hard and took like days to do, because we just would never bake, so I had no idea what it was actually like. My leg is fully asleep, it hurts. Mom likes to bake, she makes the best homemade bread. Oh, that sounds awesome. I used to be so jealous of the kids who would get homemade bread at school. Oh, I love that. They'd have like these thick cuts of bread too. I'm jealous of that. I want to be that kind of mom. I feel like this is going to make a pretty thick brownie. That's fine. That's really cool. What kind of bread did your mom used to make? Does she still make bread? Pushing this into the corners a little bit. I love brownie dough. Hey, Ashish and Chill. How are you? Whenever I bake brownies, it's never soft. What am I doing wrong? What do you mean with soft? Do you mean like fudgy or like the batter isn't soft? What do you mean exactly? At the start of the pandemic, I dusted off my mom's bread maker and made bread a few times. Oh, just like everyone else. I love it. But like it's so good, I'd just eat a whole loaf as soon as it was ready, which was definitely not sustainable. Huh. I really didn't get into the bread trend at the beginning of quarantine, which was strange for me. It was out of character. You get like a dry dough? Well, I guess I'd say add more liquids if you want a more liquidy dough, or batter, I guess. I'm just gonna sprinkle on some of this flaky salt. I mean, having the dough be dry is also fine. Or, once again, batter be dry is also fine. It results in just a different texture brownie. I like sprinkling on a lot of this salt because it gives it like a really nice crunch. There. More eggs makes it more gooey is what I read, but I'm no expert. Yeah, that makes sense. Just more liquids in general. More oil, more butter, less flour. Oh, after baking, it's just chewy. How do I make it melt in the mouth? Well, you're gonna want to use a fudgy recipe for that. One that says that the brownies are fudgy instead of cakey or, I guess dry in this situation. Alright, I'm gonna pop this in the oven. These are gonna have to bake for, I believe it was 25 to 30 minutes. Let me check real quick. Also, see if I'm forgetting anything. I feel like I might be. Golden chocolate. Did that? Yeah, 25 to 30 minutes. Alright, I'll be back in just a quick sec. Gonna pop these in the oven. There we go. Okay, Google. Set a timer for 25 minutes.
Okay, 25 minutes. Starting now.
There we go. So, I've got 25 minutes to kill. Didn't think about that. Fudge is what I was looking for. There you go. That should give you the type of brownie that you're looking for. I hope that works out for you. I'll let you know if these turn out fudgy. I haven't tried this before, so I'm pretty excited to see. So, while I'm waiting, let me tell you guys a little bit about this recipe from the book itself. Here's a little bit of the story behind the brownies. What's up, Proud Trico? So, here's the story behind it. Malted Forever Brownies is what the name is. How do you resist licking the bowl clean? Being live is how I resist licking the bowl clean. Let me get that out of sight too, that's a little ugly. Or at least, not right in front of the camera. So, Claire says, I didn't have a go-to brownie recipe before writing this book. And since they're such an oft-requested, universally loved treat, move this a little closer. Universally loved treat. Where am I? There we go. I set out to develop one. This felt like a simple task, since brownies, almost by definition, are easy to make, but I botched a lot of batches. It was the chewiness that eluded me. And because I was determined to keep these hand-makeable and weeknight friendly, I didn't want to pull out any crazy stops. After much tweaking and realizing that chilling them is an essential step, this is the winning formula. I call them my forever brownies, since I don't think I'll make any other brownie recipe again. That's them. Hey Warhorse09, why your hair look like horsetail? That's because it's fried by bleach. Thanks for asking. How are you? I think it doesn't look that bad, does it? Anyway, so that's the story behind these brownies. Basically, Claire didn't have a brownie recipe and now she does. So that's the deal. Do you guys have any like family recipes that you love making? I know about the five-star bars now. Or any like homemade recipe that you really love? Or are there any box mixes that I should try? Here in the Netherlands we have from Dr. Utker. There's this brownie recipe. It's just a box mix, but it's really good, honestly. Those are like, if you need brownies in a pinch, that's the way to go for sure. Those are the ones I usually make, and then I just chop in some chocolate and call it a day. But I think my favorite recipe to make, just like in general, is my chocolate chip cookies recipe, which is a recipe I'll take to my grave. Most of their products are good. You have that you have their brand over there too? I didn't know it was international. I thought it was just a Dutch thing. Really? Huh. I didn't know that. I thought it was just Dutch. Good to know. I can find my box brownies everywhere then. Or at least in multiple places, that is. Hey Ben, how are you? Good evening. Bot always coming to say hi. How was your day, Ben? Tell me about it. We're just waiting for the brownies to cook in the oven. I have gotten a whole bunch of brownie batter on this book already, which I guess is just initiation, maybe? Is it complicated to customize the bot name? In this situation, yeah, it is. But that's because it's not like... This isn't just like a bot that we found online. This is actually a bot that my boyfriend completely made for me. So, in this case, yeah, it is complicated. But I'm not sure if it is for other situations. Do I? Literally, I have brownie batter on my forehead.
What are you saying about my bot?
Oh, he was just asking if it's complicated to change the name of a bot.
In Twitch, I'm literally just using an account.
Oh yeah, that's right. So the bot basically just has an account, and that's how you give it a name.
Yeah, so the bot simply uses an account to send messages.
Huh. Don't know if you guys heard that, but the bot just uses an account to send messages. Cool. Thank you for clarifying.
Sure.
Yeah, then I'm making brownies. Just finished up the batter, as you can see. And we're just waiting for them to cook in the oven. Should take about 25 to 30 minutes. I think probably closer to 25 maybe? I don't know. We'll see though. So Ben, what did you do today? What have you been up to? I have been watching my nature documentaries again. I've been watching Our Planet at Night, which is just... It's not even that good of a nature documentary, I just enjoy all of them. My day was good, sometimes boring today, but it's okay. Now tired after sports. Oh cool, you went to work out? What sports were you doing? My day was pretty good. Like I said, I got my assignment filled in, so that's good. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I was very worried about not having that finished in time, so schoolwork is all done for now. And besides that, what have I done? I watched nature documentaries for a little bit, took a nap after doing my homework because it was a little bit stressful and I had the time to take a nap, so why not? And then I went to the store to grab some ingredients for this recipe and some other stuff from the drugstore. That's about it. Started streaming right after that. Had some lunch, I guess. So yeah, pretty good day. Pretty good day. Gonna make some curry tonight, so I'm looking forward to that, I guess. I'm just trying to get the brownie batter off of this book. It's like all sticky now. Oh well. I guess that just shows that it's a well-loved recipe at some point, doesn't it? Cookbooks shouldn't be kept clean, maybe. Do you guys have any cookbooks that you like using? I used to think that cookbooks were so, like, kind of useless, honestly. I didn't believe that they were, like, really good for anything, necessarily. But now that I have a whole bunch of cookbooks, it is so cool. Sports with the own body weight at home. I hate gym. That makes sense. That's good. Doing some calisthenics and stuff. Working out. Keeping yourself fit. Good. I should do that more. But yeah. So, at some point, I what was the first cookbook I bought? I think it was like this vegetarian student cookbook, when I still believed that I absolutely couldn't cook, and honestly, definitely couldn't at that point. And it basically just gave me a whole bunch of inspiration for what to cook. So I guess that's really what makes cookbooks good for me, is like giving me some type of inspiration to learn how to cook and what to cook. Least is good anyway. Yeah, for sure. You don't need to go to a fancy gym to get fit. No need at all. Do you like working out, Ben? Do you enjoy it? Let me clear this way for a sec. I feel like it's just cluttering up my view. Dropping all kinds of things over there, it's fine. Happy to hear that your day was good. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you had a pretty good day too. Although it might have been a little bit boring. Boring's not necessarily bad, I'd say. Although, when I used to work in restaurants, boring was bad. Because that's like when you figured out, like, oh wait, I'm actually working and I don't enjoy it. Working in restaurants and stuff is kind of weird. Have you guys ever worked in restaurants or anything like that? I kind of enjoyed it, but I don't know. It's such hard work that you're kind of not realizing that you're actually working. So I like that, but like afterwards I'd be dead. I'd be completely worn out. And then I'd just do it again every day. Used to work in a postal warehouse. The nights where no mail showed up were the worst ones, for sure, right? It's just like, that's when you realize, oh, I'm at work and I'm not enjoying this. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., stood around with nowhere to sit down and nothing to do. That's the worst. Yeah, it's like that in restaurants too. You're not allowed to just like go and sit down if nothing's going on, because you need to be like up and running, you know? Made sport my routine so I can't easily escape. That's good. Sometimes I don't feel like it, but often I feel energetic and I do something spontaneously. That's really good. Yeah, I guess it is important to have that like as a routine. Just like basically making yourself do it. That's a good thing. When it was busy, it was mostly chill. The manager let us use our headphones, so I just listened to podcasts while sorting mail, and it was honestly pretty decent. That sounds nice. That sounds like a pretty decent job. Doesn't sound bad at all. Yeah, I feel like restaurants are pretty much the same way. Like, if you're just busy and doing things, it's really not that bad. It's just like afterwards, you just are so worn out from it. But besides that, I really do enjoy working in restaurants and stuff. As long as it's like under good conditions and like with a decent boss. I think everyone should make good things routine. The routine makes it easier, for sure. Absolutely. Getting good habits in there, very important. What other good habits do you think are important? The only downside was night shifts in the winter. Meant I didn't see any sunlight for like a month at one point. Oh boy, that sounds like it sucks. Yeah, I guess you just kind of be inside the entire time, huh? Yeah, at least the places I've worked at had like nice big windows to look out of. But I can imagine that being pretty harsh. Just having like no daylight for weeks on end. Sounds like a bad time. But I mean, as long as the work's not that bad, could be worse, right? Anyways, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break here. I will be back in like a minute or so. Hope you guys stick around for a sec. And yeah, let me know something about yourself, like what your favorite job was to work at, or something like that. Oh boy, I almost dropped my cookbook. Anyways, I'll be back in just a sec.
One of the girls who was in a stream suggested putting this on.
Alright, I'm back. Let's see here. I think it's important routine things are waking up, sleeping at the same time, and drinking water regularly. Speaking of which, I should probably drink some water. Yeah, it's been super rainy all day here. It's very dark outside right now, so I can't even see. Stretch. Alright. Also very important, water and stretching. Thank you for that, Ben. Very, very important. Yeah, it's been rainy all day here. Let me move this mic a little closer. When I went out to the shop a little earlier, I hadn't opened the curtains yet, which daylight is important, but I hadn't opened the curtains yet, so I hadn't seen what the weather was like. So I walked outside, noticed it was pouring rain, just ridiculously. So I went back in right away and grabbed my umbrella, which is very not Dutch of me. I'm not very good at waking up and sleeping at the same time. I used to be really good at waking up at 9 o'clock. That used to be my standard time to wake up. But now that I have nowhere to go, I have no reason to wake up at 9. When it rains, at least you don't need to feel so bad when you're inside, which is only possible way because of which is only possible anyway because of Corona. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's really nothing to do for me outside right now. So in general, I don't really feel bad about staying inside lately. It's what am I gonna do outside anyways? I guess I could go take a walk. But besides that, what am I gonna do? Now I'm doing nothing all day. My routine is suffering, but I'm trying to wake up at normal times more. I should probably do that too. The last couple of days I've just been so tired. I have had such a hard time waking up. My alarm goes at 10 o'clock now because I try to at least be awake in the mornings, to get something done. But I just wake up so groggy, so tired. Don't really know why. I don't necessarily go to sleep that late, so I don't know, kind of weird. Probably some deficiency or something. Maybe vitamin D. Speaking of which. When I went to the store, I also bought a whole bunch of multivitamins because I feel I'm lacking a bunch of vitamins. And the one thing in particular that I feel I might be lacking is iodine, which is such a weird one. I feel you don't really hear about iodine problems, but apparently they've been more prevalent with people using fancy salts, because that's a huge reason why iodine deficiencies don't happen anymore, is because a lot of the salt, or at least normal table salt, is iodized. So people don't get iodine deficiencies anymore. But if you don't use iodized table salt like me, and you're a vegetarian and don't eat much dairy, then suddenly you're a lot closer to an iodine deficiency. Which, I'm not sure if I have that specifically, but I feel I might. Seems like a logical conclusion with the amount of iodine I don't get. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for a little over 2 years now. And I'm pretty happy with that lifestyle. It's been a nice change for me. I wasn't that into eating meat anyways before I became a vegetarian. When I was a little kid, I loved meat, but since I guess puberty, I kind of didn't really enjoy meat as much as I used to, so I just kind of at some point was I just don't think it's worth it anymore to eat meat, so might as well be a vegetarian. Henna's a vegetarian too? Really? That's cool. I feel like a lot of people in like this community, like this general Animal Crossing type of wholesome community, are vegetarian or have like that kind of thing in common. I feel like there's a lot of things we have in common. I don't know. I might be completely wrong about that. Could never go vegetarian? That's fine. Why do you think that? I don't know. I don't think necessarily everyone needs to be vegetarian, and I definitely don't think everyone needs to be vegan. But I feel like if you can, why not? I try to eat vegan most meals, but I'd never call myself vegetarian or vegan because I do eat meat and dairy on occasion. That makes sense. The most important thing is just like trying, to me, like caring about the environment and knowing where your food is coming from. Like, I really don't believe that everyone has to be vegetarian or vegan at all. I just feel like as long as you're conscious about what's going on and try to live sustainably in that way, it's fine. You know? All your favorite meals have meat. I used to think that too, but then I figured out a lot of the times in my favorite meals, meat wasn't really necessary. Like, if I was having like, one of my favorite meals used to be my dad's hamburgers. I just loved his hamburgers. I thought they were awesome. And then I tried this like one of these vegetarian burgers and I figured out, you know what? The meat part is not the thing that I like that much. It's just the combination of the thing that I like. Not to say that that's the same with you, Trico. I'm just saying that was what it was like for me. I discovered so many interesting and fantastic foods from starting to cut down meat. Like what? What have you found? I do it mostly for health and environment reasons. Yeah, for me it was mostly like environment and animal cruelty reasons. Those things just bothered me a lot. I didn't really want to be part of that. And besides that, I feel like it is a healthy way to live. My all-time favorite food is just flat-out steak. Makes sense. I can definitely imagine why you'd not want to give that up. Stop. I think the brownies might be done. Let me check it out. I think they could use another 5 minutes or so. Okay, Google. Set a timer for 5 minutes.
Sure, 5 minutes. Starting now.
I think they need a little extra time. They feel a little soft in the middle. But yeah, I can definitely imagine if your favorite food is like an actual piece of meat. Definitely, you know? Jackfruit is really nice. Ooh, I do like jackfruit. I'd never tried it before, but it has similar texture to like pork belly, and it absorbs flavors really well from marinades. I should really use jackfruit more often. I've used it a couple times as like pulled pork type of situation. You know, you've probably seen them, like the fake pulled pork sandwiches where it's made out of jackfruit. I really enjoy that, and it does taste really good. Also replacing meat with different beans and stuff, and now chickpea curry is like one of my favorite meals. I think I'm gonna have chickpea curry for dinner tonight, actually. Or at least I'm gonna have curry with chickpeas. Probably with some tofu too, though. That said, I'm convinced I could do a week of vegetarian eating. Just eat mushrooms as a meat replacement. Mushrooms are a great meat replacement. The only problem with that is that they don't have that much protein. At least I don't think they do. I don't know. In the long run, they aren't the best meat replacement, but they're definitely a very good, especially texturally, they're a very good replacement. One of my favorite things is to have portobello burgers, which is just basically where you take one of those nice big portobello mushrooms and use that as your beef patty. Beef patty. I like to fill it I like to roast it upside down in the oven with some cheese in the middle. I love that. I used to be someone who said I could never give up meat, and then I did Veganuary 2 years ago, and it was so easy compared to what I thought it would be. Yeah, it's especially now, it's not that hard anymore. That's the thing, like there's so many good alternatives. Once again, I don't think everyone necessarily needs to be vegan or vegetarian, but I think people can definitely cut out more meat than that they think they can. Like one of my best friends, actually a couple of my best friends, when they come over to eat, I make vegetarian dinners for them because that's just what I'm cooking. And I'm not going to be like cooking meat for them just to like cook meat for them, you know? And every time they're surprised by how easy it is to replace the thing that they thought they needed in that dish. Like in like a spaghetti bolognese, there's so many ways to make it like bolognese without the meat. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think it's made to seem a lot harder than it really is. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, I definitely think that there's some situations where you should definitely eat meat if you want to. For me, it just wasn't necessary anymore. So I just decided to cut it out completely. And I never liked fish, so... or at least I liked sushi, but like, that's about it. I liked raw fish, but I never liked cooked fish, so that was easy enough for me to cut out. And, yeah. Vegan, I think, would be a little different for me. I am very attached to butter. That's just one of those things. Like, I use butter in absolutely everything. So, that would be a tough one for me to replace. Because I feel like nothing that I've tried so far has been good enough to actually replace butter. And also cheese. I mean, it's already hard enough finding vegetarian cheese, let alone like good vegan cheese alternatives. When I say occasionally have meat and dairy, butter is like the only thing I can't replace. Yeah, for sure. Butter is just so... it just brings so much flavor and so much... I don't know. It really is a special thing. Butter. Really like almond milk? Yeah, I like soy milk. Soy milk is my favorite. Even before I was a vegetarian, I decided that I liked soy milk a lot better than regular milk. Butter is just so much better than vegan alternatives, for sure. Absolutely true. That's one of those things. It's just like, I don't see myself replacing that at any time. I guess butter is my steak. To put it in those terms. I'm not really a big cheese lover, so I didn't miss cheese much, but vegan cheese truly is terrible. Stop. Alright, I think the brownies are done now. Let me go grab them. There we go. There they are. There's the brownies. I am not going to be holding them because they are piping hot. I'm going to be interested to see how I like these brownies, to be honest. So far, they seem like they seem a little fluffy, which is not something I'm too crazy about, but I mean, I guess it's important to let them cool, like Claire said. So, In the book it says to let it cool for an hour, which is what I'm gonna do. So I'll be posting the pictures of it in my Discord. If you want to join that, you can just use the Discord command in the chat, and these will show up in there once they are fully cooled and ready to eat. And I'm a little disappointed that I don't have the crispy brownie skin on top. I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't get it. Maybe there's like, in one of my ingredients, there might be something inhibiting that. Hey Sana, sorry you missed the stream. I just finished the brownies. You can come get some if you want. You can bake brownies, that's true. Or you could come get some. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding necessarily. If you want to come grab some, you definitely can, but... Oh, that's right, Apfelklok. Whatever. We have, Selna lives really close to me, so I was saying that she could, like, come and get some, but we're not allowed to be outside after 9 o'clock, so I guess that does suck. Stream was good, thank you for asking. Just finished up this recipe. It's from the book Dessert Person, which I got for Christmas. And, which I just dropped on the floor. No problem, Selma. That's fine. Glad I caught a whole stream for once. For sure, I'm glad you were here, Trico. Yeah, from Claire. That's right. And, yeah. As it says in the recipe, I'm gonna let these cool for an hour, so picture will be up in the Discord in a little bit, and, I guess that's about them. Oh, like I was saying, I'm a little disappointed there's no brownie skin on there, so I don't know. So far, I do recommend the book for sure. It's a really good book. I like it a lot. It has really interesting recipes in it, and it shows you exactly, like, how long something is gonna take and how hard it is and all that kind of stuff. Well, I was actually talking about this earlier, Selna. Butter actually is not the thing that gives it the skin. It's actually incorporating the sugar fully. I'll send you the video that I learned this from. But there's this one guy on YouTube. He did like this actually like full research on why brownie skin happens, and like consulted people from Harvard and all that kind of stuff. True try hard. And yeah, he figured out that basically fully incorporating the sugar is the most important part to actually getting that brownie skin. I'll share that with you if you want. For cake it makes the top harder? That makes sense. Yeah, I'm talking about like the flaky skin, but I don't have any of that here, which I don't know why. Too bad. Anyways, bit of a short stream today, but I guess that's it for today. Can always put chocolate on top and say the top is perfect. Absolutely. I mean, it still looks good. It still looks like a nice, crunchy, chewy top, so I'm not too concerned about it, but I was hoping for the crunchy, thin brownie skin. Anyways, yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for being here. Well, like, I'm gonna wait for it to cool off, and then I'm gonna post some pictures in the Discord of what it looks like on the inside and how it fully turned out. So, that. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, please follow me and hang out another time. What am I doing tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday? Ooh, fashion show tomorrow. Fashion show on my island tomorrow. I'm giving away a whole bunch of bells. Like, a whole bunch of bells, so come and hang out and join in on the fashion show if you want to. And yeah, we'll have a good time tomorrow. Besides that, I hope you guys have a great day or night or whichever time it is for you, and I'm gonna find someone to raid. Let's see. I think I'll do someone who's playing Animal Crossing. How's that? Let's see here. Who are streaming right now? Ooh, let's see here. Should I raid Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park? If you guys like Linkin Park, that's who we're heading over to. We're heading over to Mike Shinoda's channel. I hope you guys have a good time over there. I'm sure he's gonna be doing some type of music thing, and I really enjoy him, so I enjoy his streams, so I hope you guys do too. Let's head over there, and I'll see you all next time. Hope to see you guys tomorrow for the fashion show, and see you there. Bye guys, have a great day.